Really want to stick his left hand out to deal with my knife. Right, we're seeing a little bit of that. We don't really want to do that because obviously he's going to cut himself. He's going to get an injury here first, a stupid injury. A sharp knife, I can just potentially slice off his fingers, right? You got a lot of nerves coming up under here and all your tendons and stuff. It's not fun. And then from there, you're just going to be slower on that one, right? So you don't really want to deal with this. If I'm coming in here, right, he doesn't want to deal with
this right here will kill you. That's how you commit suicide. You don't cut your wrist this way, you cut it this way. So if I put it this way and I miss, that's literally, that can give me a few minutes to live.
If I'm trying to stab him,
yeah,
boom, and it goes in there.
That's literally, you can die that way. That's how people commit suicide for real, not try, right? So putting your hand up like this is just a bad idea altogether.
So if he's going to attack with this knife here, we don't really want to come here then with the knife. I know toppy-toppy, we do toppy-toppy drill and stuff like that, but that helps us build up the flow. Even when we have a knife in toppy-toppy, if he comes with a one strike, I come with my knife first, and then I block with my hand. I don't block with my hand first, right? So try to get used to being comforted by your weapon, right? This is your weapon, this is your shield. I shouldn't deal with this first, I should deal with that, and then come through in here, or maybe let it pass as his energy's coming, and try to keep myself safe, because sometimes it's not going to register, right? A quick cut, sharp cut, might not register on someone who has a lot of adrenaline, especially if there's drugs in the system, right? Might not register, so you might come back with a couple of slashes before you even realize his arm's split up, right? So avoid that, where you're kind of like dealing with your check hand first if you have a weapon, right? Again, you don't want to catch the weapon hand either. That's one of the things you don't want to do, is if he's coming with a weapon, you don't want to catch it. I don't want to catch it here, so even if I come here, I'm hooking over, right? And I have this grip here, but I'm not holding it here, because then, yeah, see that happens? That's not fun, right? So what I want to do is I want to be able to come here and be able to pass it, because then if he tries to stab me there, even if he gets a cut from here, then I can start to push and do other things, right? But if I'm holding on to him here, then he's holding on to me too. And if he wants to cut and tear, he can pull his knife away, tear like that, and come in, right, and just fillet me up, right? One of the other things too is if you drop a knife, right, I ran to get my knife too, right? If you drop a knife, one of the things that we were just talking about here is if he comes for a stab here, make sure that you get the blocks up, and you're gonna want to make sure that a lot of these with a weapon versus open hand is going to be double hand stuff in a sense, right? I don't always want to be like here, double hand stuff, but if he comes and stabs here, I can go two hands that way, make sure it doesn't hit me, right? So maybe like the first reaction here, he comes this way, and then he comes for a stab again here, boom, and then I can start passing and push him off and do other techniques, right? Again, if he comes in aggressively here and keeps continuing to stab, I'm not just going to be able to just do something here. I'm going to have to be able to get a second hand up here, or a second hand this way, and be able to switch the technique, try to break his arm, and come down, driving his shoulder into the ground. It's not easy, right? It's the worst case scenario without a weapon if he has one. But what I, again, don't want to do is if he comes for a stab, I don't want to grab it this way, right? If anything, I want to be able to kind of parry it offline and stay out of the way, right? We all saw people try to get in and immediately got stabbed. So unless you guys spar with the headgear on and stuff like that, just try not to get touched with the knives. When you spar with the headgear on, you guys will be able to strike each other, right? So if he throws a knife attack here, whatever it is, and I block it with the headgear on, I can come back and strike. This here might be my disengagement point. Boom. And then I take off, or maybe I get my knife, or maybe I'm like, oh, that really worked, and then I jump on him and try to get his knife and stuff like that, right? But we were just going over it. Disable before you disarm, right? I don't want to do something fancy here where he goes and stabs. Boom, and I try to do some sweet martial arts, Kotegaesh, some sweet karate move, kung fu move here, right? I want to be able to come here, boom, and hit him hard. See how that assesses him, and from here, right, I can just push him off with this, disengage, or take advantage of the situation if I need to. Just keep driving into his punches, right? So let's go ahead and get a little practice in on that. Has everybody got some sparring in? Yeah. Everybody got some sparring? All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and get a little practice in on that. Everybody grab a knife.